Hey guys, MentalReach here. When we're young, it seems easy to make friends. I'm pretty sure you understand that feeling. When we're at school, we make friends with a bunch of children around us. When we're teenagers, we make friends with those in our neighborhood. And when you finally go off to college, we become friends with our strange roommate. But what happens when you finally become an adult? Well, everything can change because you move on. You lose the friends you used to have, and you live the boring adult life. You then feel alone as you gain more responsibilities, such as having a job, paying the bills, and other boring things. Hashtag adult life sucks. But how hard is it to really find a friend when we think about it? And where exactly can you find a friend at? Is it at school? Or maybe the supermarket? Or maybe a bar? With so many options to choose from, why is it difficult to find someone who we can form a bond with? And why are people still asking themselves the question, where can I find a best friend at? Surprisingly, it could be any of those places. It can even be the moon if you manage to find someone up there. But what creates a friendship are a set of principles that Dale Carnegie goes over in his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So let's take a look into this book and some of the principles he goes over. Part 1 of this book was the fundamental techniques in handling people. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. We're quick to fight back when someone tells us we're doing something wrong, especially if we're an expert at it. Criticism makes people feel defensive, and when you criticize someone, they won't change because they'll just be angry at you. Instead, give someone your honest and sincere consideration. The deepest thing human beings just want is to be appreciated for who they are. And negative criticism is just going to give birth to potential arguments you don't want. The only way to get out of an argument is to just avoid it. You create a negative image for yourself, and you make yourself appear to be the bad guy who only wants to prove someone wrong. Besides, what do you really gain by winning the argument? If you win, the other person is just going to be angry at you, and if you lose, you're going to be angry at them. Instead, show respect in the other person's opinion. Never say, "You're wrong." Just say something like, "I may be wrong, and I want to know why, so let's look at the facts." And if you're wrong, admit it quickly and with full details. People often try to get out of situations by making excuse after excuse. They tell the boss why they were late for work because of every little thing they could think of, so long as it doesn't point back at them. Although blaming other people is the first thing that pops in our head whenever we're in trouble, avoid it. It'll only make your life more difficult. If you mess up, simply acknowledge your mistake and explain it in full details on how you messed up. Show people you're responsible and honest, and they'll be likely to dismiss your actions. For instance, in the book, Carnegie says he used to take his dog to the park without a leash and would run into an officer who didn't like that. And although Carnegie did try to put his dog on a leash the next time he went to the park, the dog didn't like it. So Carnegie decided just to let his dog run free, but like life, that same police officer caught him doing that. But instead of waiting for the police officer to yell at him, he spoke first and said he was guilty with no excuses for what he did. He said he knew the officer had already warned him and he deserved to be punished. And because of that action, the police officer felt his authority was respected and said he was overreacting and forgave him for the situation. But let's point this back at you. If you see someone who's punishing themselves before you even get the chance, then you'll be less inclined to beat them even more. You're more likely to show them mercy because you see them trying to correct the situation while also respecting your authority. Not to mention you have to be specific when praising someone. Don't just give useless compliments that someone could find in a fortune cookie. Take notes on a specific trait that the average person doesn't have. For example, instead of making a comment about liking your friend's new clothing, tell them the latest accomplishment last week that gave you some really useful insight. Or maybe you can mention that you're very impressed by their patience whenever they handle irritating people. Now the second part this book goes over is the 6 ways to make people like you. Become truly interested in other people. We tend to take people for granted and forget to appreciate them. But despite the bad habit that we tend to have, if we stop thinking about ourselves for just a bit and start thinking about other people, you'll be more valued in their eyes. When someone tells you something interesting about themselves, try to understand it more. Ask questions that connect with their emotions. Ask to see their work. Ask about their lifestyle or any crazy stories they might have. One of the biggest reasons social interactions go wrong is because people aren't genuinely interested in the other person they're speaking to. They're too busy thinking about what they're going to say the moment the other person stops talking. If you have trouble initiating a conversation with somebody, try to have them teach you something about themselves. They like dogs? Ask them about the type of dog they have or the type of dog they had as a child. They like video games? Ask them about any type of video games they enjoy playing. And remember, you can get something of value out of everyone you meet. And if you find something you value in someone, you will be interested in them. And you can change someone's complete conception of you with just a few kind words of appreciation. And let's not forget about smiling. They're infectious, like a baby, a puppy, or any cute animal you see on the internet. And a real smile can boost someone's day. It shows that all hope isn't lost yet, not to mention it can boost someone's day if they're feeling down. It's not like a smile costs anything anyway, plus it's worth high value. And if none of those things make you want to smile, just remember that a smile can make you look more attractive too. But we're also forgetting about the importance of being a good listener. Instead of being eager to get everything out of your head, encourage others to talk about themselves. This makes the other person feel important. People love talking about their abilities and accomplishments. And if you get someone talking about themselves in a conversation, they will like you. And the third part of this book is to win people to your way of thinking. Appeal to the other person's motives. In the book, Carnegie says that he would never take strawberries to go fishing with because that's not what fish want. He used worms because that's what fish really desire. And like fishes, people desire different things. If you want to talk to a girl you like, you're better off talking about things that interest her and offer her value before you even consider asking for her number. Things like the best places to eat at, any big events happening nearby, or anything else she might be interested in. People often beg for things while giving anything in return. But don't follow that trend. Be like a dog, as one would say. Dogs aren't called man best friends for nothing after all. They're always excited to see people. And like a dog, you always have to show interest in someone. Show admirations in a way others don't. This means you have to be sympathetic towards other people's ideas and desires. After all, there's a reason people think and act the way that they do. So discover that reason and you have the keys to their personality. And to convince someone to do something, you have to frame it in a way that motivates them. That means you have to see things from their point of view. If you can put aside your own thoughts and truly see the way someone else sees life, then you have a better chance to convince them that it's in their best interest to do what you want. For example, suppose you knew someone who said they were going on a date with you, but decided to back out on the last minute because they were too scared or had cold feet. Instead of calling that person a name or getting angry, see why they would back out of the date to understand the situation entirely, and then tell them you never took them as a person who will go back on their word, which is why you were surprised that they would back out from your date. But you accept their decision for what it is, and I bet chances are they are going to feel guilty and call you back. Talk about your own mistakes before criticizing someone else's, and when you're about to criticize anyone, try to see life from their shoes and why they do the things that they do. This makes you more empathetic towards them. And the last part is, be a leader. Change people without arousing resentment. Who knows, maybe you're in business, work somewhere where you have the ability to give orders, or come from a place where you're in charge of anybody. This book also targets you guys, and for good reason. Suppose someone you know makes a mistake, and it's up to you to fix the problem. Instead of just bashing on them for whatever mistake they made, tell them the hardships you experienced that's similar to theirs. And once they hear the problems you once dealt with, then bring up what they need help with. Or else, if you just bash the other person or why they're stupid, wrong, or an idiot, they're going to care less and hate you more for it. In the book, Carnegie gives an example of hiring his niece to be a secretary. But she made many mistakes, and before Carnegie criticized her for her flaws, he told her that she made a mistake, but goodness knows it was no worse than the ones he made himself when he was her age. He told her the best way to learn was through experience, and that he made many mistakes himself. This is what fixed her attitude to do a better job in the future. It's much easier for someone to listen to their own faults after you listed your own. It shows that you're human and not perfect, making another person feel more relatable towards you. So before you scream at your employees, yell at your child, or choke your coworkers with the force, give them a short preview of your flaws and then tell them their own shortcomings. But let's say you're still struggling with that. If you see someone making a mistake in their work, first say what they're doing right and what you like. Then tell them what they did wrong. It's easier to listen to unpleasant things once you've been praised for your good traits. Alright, congratulations! We just covered the best ways to make friends and influence people. Hopefully with these tips, you'll find someone near you can try these tips on. And that's How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Great book for anyone if you're interested in it. Alright guys, thanks again for watching another video. If you have a book you want to see in the future, let's become friends by hitting that like button and subscribing. Alright guys, have a good day, and as they say in Friendship Town, Kalalazoo.